There is a kind of power the world rarely notices. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek applause. It doesn't make dramatic entrances or leave behind loud victories. It grows quietly. One decision at a time, one sunrise at a time, one disciplined action repeated long after excitement has disappeared. Most people spend their lives chasing intensity. They wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect opportunity. But the Stoics understood something that modern society continues to ignore. Greatness is never built by intensity. It is built by consistency. Marcus Aurelius never ruled an empire because of one brilliant day. He ruled because every morning he trained his mind before facing the chaos of Rome. A sculptor doesn't create a masterpiece with one strike of the chisel. A warrior doesn't become fearless after one battle. A tree doesn't become mighty because of one season of rain. Everything that lasts because it endured repetition. Yet today people celebrate overnight success. They admire the finished castle while ignoring the thousands of stones that were laid in silence. They envy wealth but despise budgeting. They admire strength but avoid training. They dream of wisdom but refuse daily reflection. This is why so many remain trapped, not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. The Stoics believed that every action shapes character. Every promise you keep to yourself makes you stronger. Every promise you break weakens your identity. The battle is never against the world. The battle is against the version of yourself that always seeks comfort. Because comfort whispers, "You can start tomorrow." Consistency replies, "I begin today." By the end of this video, you will understand why consistency is the greatest hidden weapon ever discovered. Why the strongest men often appear ordinary. Why the richest minds were built through invisible habits. And why silence is often the loudest proof of discipline. Because in Stoicism, power is never noisy. It is earned quietly until the results become impossible to ignore. Chapter 1. Consistency is the language of nature. Look outside. The sun has risen every single morning for thousands of years. It never asks whether it feels motivated. The ocean never forgets the shore. Winter never argues with spring. Nature succeeds because it is faithful to its rhythm. The Stoics constantly observed nature because they believed it reflected the proper way to live. Nature doesn't rush, yet nothing remains unfinished. Human beings suffer because they constantly abandon their own rhythm. One week they exercise. The next week they quit. 1 month they save money. The following month they spend everything. One day they pursue purpose. The next day they chase distractions. Imagine planting a seed. Every morning you dig it up to check whether it has grown. Eventually the seed dies, not because it lacked potential, but because you lacked patience. Many dreams suffer the same fate. People interrupt their own growth by constantly changing direction. Consistency requires faith. Faith that today's invisible effort is building tomorrow's visible reward. The Stoics called this trusting the process of virtue. Not every action produces immediate results. Some rewards arrive months later. Some arrive years later. Some shape the kind of person you become rather than the things you own. And those are often the greatest rewards. Every morning Marcus Aurelius reminded himself who he wanted to become. Not because he forgot, but because consistency demands repetition. Character isn't built by remembering once. Character is built by remembering every day. Your future isn't determined by your biggest decision. It is determined by your smallest repeated decision. The glass of water, the morning walk, the page you read, the dollar you save, the apology you finally make. Tiny actions, repeated faithfully, become destiny. Chapter 2. Small actions create unbreakable men. There is an old illusion that strength comes from dramatic moments. Movies show heroes winning impossible battles. Reality is different. Real strength is painfully ordinary. A man who wakes before dawn every day. A woman who saves a small amount every paycheck. A student who studies even when exams are months away. These people rarely appear extraordinary, yet years later, they become unstoppable. The Stoics understood this because they viewed excellence as habit rather than performance. Epictetus once taught that no great thing is created suddenly. Everything magnificent begins as something insignificant repeated consistently. Imagine two men. One trains 7 hours in one day, then rests for 2 weeks. The other trains 45 minutes every day. Who becomes stronger? The answer isn't mysterious. Muscles reward consistency. The mind works exactly the same way. Confidence isn't born from positive thinking. Confidence comes from evidence. Every promise you keep to yourself becomes evidence that you are reliable. Every excuse becomes evidence that you cannot trust yourself. Eventually, your subconscious reaches a verdict. I believe you. Or, I don't. This explains why some people naturally carry quiet confidence. It isn't arrogance. It isn't luck. It is accumulated proof. Thousands of moments where they showed up despite not wanting to. Consistency is self-respect in action. Every disciplined act says, my future matters. Every shortcut says, my comfort matters more. The world notices outcomes. The Stoic notices habits, because habits always create outcomes. Chapter 3. Silence is the companion of consistency. One of the strangest truths about disciplined people is how little they talk. They don't announce every goal. They don't broadcast every workout. They don't seek applause before they've earned it. Why? Because real consistency has no audience. The loudest people often disappear when life becomes difficult. The quiet ones keep working. While everyone else argues online, they improve. While everyone complains about the economy, they learn new skills. While everyone waits for perfect timing, they begin. Seneca warned against chasing public approval. He believed a wise person measures progress by virtue, not applause. This is why Stoicism teaches silence, not because speaking is wrong, but because energy spent talking is energy not spent acting. Have you ever noticed how announcing a goal sometimes makes you less likely to achieve it? The praise arrives before the work. Your mind mistakes intention for accomplishment. The Stoics would have smiled knowingly, because they understood that appearances are seductive. Reality is earned. Silence protects focus. Silence protects discipline. Silence protects consistency. The oak tree does not make noise while it grows. The mountain never advertises its strength. The river never boasts about reaching the sea. Yet all of them accomplish their purpose. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius had spent his days trying to convince everyone he was wise. He would have had no time left to become wise. The same is true for us. Less announcing, more doing, less explaining, more improving, less proving, more becoming. The strongest transformations are often invisible until one day people suddenly ask, "What changed about you?" They think the change happened overnight. But you know the truth. It happened every single day. When no one was watching. Chapter 4. Mastering the boring days. There is a moment in every worthwhile journey when excitement disappears. The new habit no longer feels new. The dream seems farther away than when you began. The results are too small to notice. This is where most people quit. Not because the goal is impossible, but because the work has become ordinary. The Stoics expected this moment. They knew that discipline is not tested on the exciting days. It is tested on the quiet ones. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired. Anyone can save money after watching a motivational video. Anyone can wake up early for a week. The real question is this: who are you when nothing feels exciting anymore? Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. Strike after strike, the metal changes only slightly. To an impatient observer, every blow looks pointless. But the blacksmith knows that every strike strengthens the steel. Your life works the same way. One workout may not transform your body. One page may not make you wise. One act of kindness may not change your relationships. But repeated thousands of times, these actions create a person who is impossible to recognize from the one who started. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that every day offered another chance to practice virtue. He didn't wait for extraordinary circumstances. He treated ordinary moments as opportunities. Waiting in line became a chance to practice patience. Being insulted became a chance to practice self-control. Facing hardship became a chance to practice courage. Every ordinary day became meaningful because it trained his character. This is the hidden secret of consistency. It transforms boring moments into building blocks. Most people see repetition as punishment. The Stoic sees repetition as freedom. Because every repeated action removes uncertainty. You no longer debate whether to exercise. You simply exercise. You no longer negotiate whether to save money. You simply save. You no longer argue with yourself about doing the right thing. You simply do it. Eventually, discipline becomes part of your identity. You stop asking, "Should I?" and begin saying, "This is who I am." That shift changes everything. Chapter 5. Why discipline outlives motivation. Motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. Motivation arrives with excitement. It fills your mind with possibilities. It convinces you that change will be easy. Then life happens. You become tired. Work becomes stressful. Your plans are interrupted. Suddenly the fire disappears. This is where many people believe they have failed. But the Stoics would say otherwise. They would remind you that your emotions were never meant to be your leader. Epictetus taught that we cannot control our feelings at every moment. What we can control is our response. That distinction is everything. If you only act when you feel like it, then your life belongs to your emotions. And emotions change like the weather. Some mornings you wake up energized. Other mornings you feel exhausted. Some days confidence fills your heart. Other days doubt follows every step. If your actions depend on these changing conditions, your progress will always be unstable. Discipline creates stability. It says, "Whether I feel strong or weak, I will keep my word." Imagine two sailors crossing the sea. One changes direction every time the wind shifts. The other keeps his eyes fixed on the stars. Who reaches the destination? Life constantly changes. Markets rise and fall. Relationships change. Health fluctuates. Opportunities appear and disappear. The disciplined person adjusts without abandoning the journey. This is why Stoicism emphasizes internal control. You cannot command the storm, but you can command the sailor. Every time you honor your commitments despite discomfort, you strengthen something invisible, your character. And unlike motivation, character does not vanish overnight. It grows slowly, quietly, patiently, until one day people mistake your discipline for talent. They assume success came naturally. They never saw the mornings when you wanted to quit. They never saw the evenings when you chose responsibility over comfort. They only see the harvest, not the seasons of planting. Chapter 6. The Stoic Secret of Becoming Unstoppable. People often ask, "How do I become unstoppable?" They expect a complicated answer, a secret strategy, a hidden technique. The Stoics offered something much simpler. Become the kind of person who keeps moving. Not quickly, not perfectly, simply consistently. Think of water flowing through stone. Water is soft, stone is hard. Yet over time, water reshapes mountains. Not because it is stronger, because it never stops. Consistency is like water. It wears down fear. It dissolves doubt. It smooths rough habits. It carves new paths where none seemed possible. This is why patience is one of the greatest forms of strength. Impatience asks, "Why am I not there yet?" Wisdom asks, "Did I improve today?" Those are very different questions. One creates frustration. The other creates progress. Marcus Aurelius never promised himself a perfect life. He promised himself another day of practicing virtue. That simple commitment carried him through wars, political betrayals, plague, and unimaginable responsibility. He understood that no one conquers life all at once. Life is conquered one decision at a time, one temptation resisted, one fear confronted, one honest conversation, one disciplined morning, one faithful evening. Eventually, these moments accumulate into something remarkable, not because each one is impressive, but because together they form an unbreakable chain. Imagine holding a single thread. It snaps easily. Now imagine thousands of threads woven together. They become a rope capable of carrying enormous weight. Consistency weaves those threads. Each day adds another strand. Each promise kept strengthens the rope. One missed day does not destroy it, but repeated neglect weakens it. Likewise, repeated faithfulness makes it nearly impossible to break. This is the Stoic secret. Do not chase dramatic transformation. Chase faithful repetition. Do not obsess over distant success. Master today's responsibilities. Do not seek recognition. Seek integrity, because a person who quietly, keeps their promises to themselves becomes stronger than someone who constantly makes promises to others. And when hardship inevitably arrives, as it always does, it will discover something unexpected. It will not find someone relying on temporary motivation. It will find someone built by thousands of consistent actions. A person who no longer depends on perfect conditions. A person who has learned to continue regardless. That is the silent power of consistency. Not loud, not flashy, but impossible to stop. Chapter 7. The compound effect of daily virtue. One of the greatest illusions in life is believing that today's choices matter only today. The Stoics knew better. Every decision leaves a mark. Every action becomes practice. Every habit shapes the person you will become tomorrow. Imagine placing one small coin into a jar every single day. The first week it seems insignificant. After a month it still appears ordinary. But after years the jar is full. The same principle governs character. A single act of patience may seem small. A single honest decision may go unnoticed. A single disciplined morning may not transform your life. Yet these actions do not disappear. They accumulate, like drops of water filling a vast lake. Seneca believed that virtue grows through repeated practice. No one becomes wise by accident. Wisdom is earned through thousands of moments where impulse is replaced with reason. The same is true of courage. The same is true of self-control. The same is true of discipline. Every day presents opportunities that appear insignificant. Returning the shopping cart. Keeping your word. Speaking respectfully when angry. Choosing to read instead of endlessly scrolling. These moments rarely make headlines. Yet they quietly shape your identity. The world celebrates grand achievements. Stoicism celebrates daily integrity. The compound effect is not merely financial. It is moral. The person you become tomorrow is being built by what you repeatedly choose today. Never underestimate a small victory. Small victories become great victories when repeated long enough. Chapter 8. Becoming the person you repeatedly practice. There is a profound truth that many overlook. You are always practicing something. If you repeatedly procrastinate, you become skilled at delaying. If you repeatedly complain, you become skilled at finding problems. If you repeatedly avoid discomfort, you become skilled at escaping responsibility. Likewise, if you repeatedly act with discipline, you become disciplined. The Stoics believed character was not fixed. It was forged, like iron placed into fire, shaped by pressure and strengthened through repetition. Marcus Aurelius did not wake up one morning as the wise emperor history remembers. He became that man through countless unseen decisions. Every temptation resisted. Every injustice endured without bitterness. Every difficult choice made according to reason rather than emotion. He practiced wisdom until wisdom became natural. This is how identity changes. Not through declarations, not through wishes, but through repeated actions. Many people say, "I want to become confident." Yet confidence is not something you receive. It is something you rehearse. Every difficult conversation strengthens it. Every fear confronted reinforces it. Every promise kept expands it. Eventually, confidence is no longer something you chase. It becomes who you are. The Stoics never separated action from identity. They understood that every repeated behavior writes another sentence. In the story of your life, the question is not, who do I want to become? The better question is, what am I practicing every day? Because your future self is simply today's habits multiplied by time. Chapter 9. Winning the invisible battle. Most of life's greatest battles are invisible. No audience watches them. No applause follows them. No trophies are awarded. The battle to get out of bed when comfort calls. The battle to remain calm when insulted. The battle to save money instead of seeking instant pleasure. The battle to keep going when progress feels painfully slow. These moments define a person far more than public victories ever will. Epictetus taught that no one can conquer the world before conquering themselves. Self-mastery comes first. The external world is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Fortunes will rise and fall. But your response remains yours. Consistency gives you something that circumstances cannot steal. Inner stability. When your habits are strong, temporary setbacks lose much of their power. Failure becomes feedback rather than defeat. Criticism becomes instruction rather than injury. Success becomes responsibility rather than arrogance. This is the freedom the Stoics sought, not freedom from hardship, freedom from being controlled by hardship. The invisible battle is fought every day. No one else can fight it for you, yet every victory, however small, strengthens your soul. Eventually, the battles that once exhausted you become ordinary. What once required enormous effort becomes second nature. That is the reward of consistency. Chapter 10. The Legacy of Consistency. When people think about legacy, they often imagine monuments, wealth, or fame. The Stoics viewed legacy differently. Your greatest legacy is the character you build and the example you leave behind. Children do not learn discipline because they hear lectures. They learn it by watching consistent actions. Friends trust those who consistently keep their word. Communities grow stronger through people who quietly fulfill their responsibilities. History remembers extraordinary individuals, but extraordinary individuals are created by ordinary days repeated faithfully. Imagine looking back at your life many years from now. What will matter more? The moments when you chased excitement, or the years when you quietly honored your values? The answer is clear. The greatest achievements are rarely dramatic. They are accumulated, brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote his private reflections not for applause, but to remind himself to remain virtuous. He never imagined those words would inspire millions centuries later. His legacy was not built in one speech. It was built through a lifetime of consistent effort. The same principle applies to every one of us. You may never rule an empire. You may never become famous. But you can become dependable, wise, courageous, disciplined, and those qualities leave an impact far greater than recognition alone. The world changes because ordinary people consistently choose what is right. That is a legacy worth pursuing. Conclusion. The silent power of consistency is not found in dramatic moments. It is found in the quiet decisions no one else sees. It is found in waking up when you said you would, in finishing what you started, in remaining calm when anger seems easier, in choosing wisdom over impulse. The Stoics never promised an easy life. They promised that a disciplined mind could endure any life. Remember this: every sunrise offers another opportunity to strengthen your character. Every challenge offers another chance to practice virtue. Every ordinary day is another brick laid in the foundation of an extraordinary life. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait until you feel ready. Start with what you can do today. Then repeat it tomorrow, and the day after that. Months from now, people may look at your progress and call you talented. Years from now, they may call you successful. They will never fully see the thousands of quiet choices that made it possible. But you will know. You will remember the mornings when no one was watching. The evenings when giving up seemed easier. The moments when discipline whispered louder than comfort. That is where your strength was born. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, the obstacle is not merely something standing in your way. It can become the path itself when met with reason and perseverance. So let each challenge become another opportunity to remain consistent. Let every setback become another lesson. Let every ordinary day become another victory. Because in the Stoic way, greatness is never a single moment of glory. It is the result of countless moments of quiet faithfulness. Stay steady, stay humble, stay consistent. And in time, the life you once imagined will no longer be a dream. It will simply be the natural consequence of the person you chose to become. The silent power of consistency is this: it does not ask for attention. It asks only that you show up again and again until your character becomes stronger than your circumstances.